What's up? What's up? What's up? We're back in the building, the house that Surgeon Alfie built, Flowhio Studios here in Tampa, Florida. It is April 17th, and it is hot outside, man, but we're back to be here with you. I am Solomon Davis, the co-host of His, Hers, and Ours, along with
Shannon Royal Davis.
What's going on?
I'm present. Hey.
I think we got a fantastic show in store for the people today. But before we get started, I want to say I'm happy and I'm in my feelings a little bit.
You happy?
I'm happy because we got a lot of followers out there now over the last 6 weeks, and I've been getting a lot of feedback from people that have been listening, streaming. A lot of them have been female counterparts of mine that have been tuning in, and I get, hey, I'm loving the show. I love the way you and your wife vibe, but I got to tell you, I'm Team Shannon all the way.
Oh, yes, sir. Oh, yes, sir. We here for this one.
Like,
we here for it. Of course.
It ain't Team Shannon versus Team Solomon. I mean, we in this thing together, but hey, I mean, ladies, if y'all want to rock together, I'm just speaking the truth out there. So, hate the enemy, the evil empire, so to speak. So what's going on?
Well, for me, I want to say thank you because we have gotten a lot of followers and people who get a chance to, who don't get a chance to catch us live, they actually go back and listen to it on the podcast. So now us being added to both, we were already on Spreaker, so now having the Spotify as well as iHeart is a super plus. So if you all have a chance and you're not able to join us on Saturdays, please feel free to play it back through iHeart as well.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Today we have a special guest joining us.
Oh, yes.
I've been looking forward to this one for a while.
Yes.
A while.
A while?
That sounds personal.
A while?
Don't do my friend like that.
I mean, because we've had conversations.
started.
We've had conversations
Right.
in the past, and I just thought it'd be interesting on air, and it's going to make for a good 60 to 90 minutes of back and forth banter.
Okay.
So, Shannon, you want to go ahead and introduce?
Yes, this is my good friend, Shannon. It's so funny because we worked together and didn't even think that just, simple conversation in the office would turn into a beautiful friendship. So my good friend Gina is joining us today.
Hi.
Yeah, my girl is very opinionated. So and this is the beauty of it though. I always say that I love my friends because they are very candid with me and honest, and we share a lot of stuff. So when we talk on this podcast, 9 times out of 10, my friends have heard it. But they don't, and I love it because they're not forming their own, judging. It's always their honest opinion. So we take it from each other from a nice place. So I always respect that. And Gina's one of my friends. I do respect her opinion. She makes me laugh. I enjoy her. Really, our conversations are always fun. So she's gonna be on the hot seat today.
Let it burn.
Oh,
Let it burn.
Friend ready.
She ready. She ready. She want all the smoke.
All of it.
So, Gina, before we get started, just tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and what have you.
Is this a dating profile? What do you mean
Right.
my background? What? I'm
Yo.
here. Okay, so I'm Gina Wallace. I'll give you my last name.
Okay.
You ain't got no warrants or nothing, right?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
for real, because,
Come find me. No. Born and raised in Tampa. Tampa is all I know. And so glad to have met Shannon. You're the addition to the Shannon.
I'm the plus one.
Right. You're in this relationship.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like Shannon said, our work relationship turned into a really good friendship. And even though we work in different departments now, we hang out. And I'm
Pinging
glad
each other,
to
right? Pinging.
right, the Skype.
Oh
the
yeah,
Teams.
absolutely. But we it's so funny because we were never on the same team, always on different teams. But we still sometimes when people move departments and leave a company or whatever the case may be, you kind of lose contact. But it's usually me, Gina, and another one of our friends. I'm gonna try and get her on here too, but she act like the little old lady of the bunch, and she's the youngest, so it's the funny part. But I'm like the big sister, Gina's the middle sister, and the other one is the baby sister. But it's just cool that we all still stay in touch with each other. We kind of always know what's going on with each other. We support each other both, not just us as friends, but even as family. That's my extended family. So we support each other with kids, family, whatever it is. We always try and spend time and show love with each other. So absolutely.
That's what's up, and we got some situations and issues that we're gonna talk about. Like I say, we've carried from the past. We're gonna bring along, but I don't want to start the show right off with that. I want to get into something a little bit more serious to start the show off with. As we all know, and have been watching the last 2 to 3 weeks, the George Floyd case. Defense wrapped up its closing arguments, so 9 times out of 10, the jury will go to deliberation early next weekend. I'm thinking Wednesday, Thursday, we should have a decision. In my eyes, with everything that's been put out there, there's no way they can come back with the not guilty verdict.
Oh,
but
my brother.
We know the days that we live in, the days and times that we live in. So I just want to get your thoughts. Have you been following the case?
Absolutely. I tried not to watch it every day because I'm sensitive to it. I have a son, and but yes, and I work too, right? So can't watch it all day long, but absolutely trying to catch the
You work from home.
the highlights. Trying to catch the highlights to not be so wrapped up in it. And it does look like it's a slam dunk.
Right. So let me throw this at you real quick. I mean, I by no stretch of the imagination have any law degree or anything like that. I think I'm an educated black man. I think I know a little bit about something. But everything that I know is your lawyer has the choice of saying, hey, I'm going to put you on the stands. You say yes or no. You tell him no, it's over with. For his attorney to put him in front of a microphone and say, you're basically on a stand, do you wish to invoke your Fifth Amendment right? And he says yes. I mean, everything I know says that you only invoke the Fifth Amendment right if you don't want to, incriminate yourself. Basically, you're guilty.
Right.
So instead of his attorney just saying, okay, we're finished, let's go into our closing arguments and what have you, to put him there at the end and say, hey, do you wish to invoke your Fifth Amendment right? And he says yes. I mean, I can't see any way possible that they come back and say not guilty.
But legally, you can't look at it from that standpoint of, okay, that's just automatic guilt. It's just they're
looking at it legally. I'm looking at it from the street.
I'm just telling you, and I understand there's difference, but even the street dude get up there and plead the fifth when they up there as well. Sometimes they refuse not to not testify at all and get up there and don't even want to waste your time and just say, okay, I'm going to let you leave it in the hand of the jury.
But aside from him pleading the fifth, there have been so many other expert witnesses against him. So even if he didn't say anything, I still think there's enough on the table to say you're guilty.
But here we go again.
You're right.
This is always the case. Like, you always see this thing, and I think it just has the issue is how law enforcement deals with people of color. And I'm not just going to say African American because it's black or brown, because as you see, there was a 13-year-old boy in Chicago, a Hispanic little boy who, now mind you, don't get me wrong, they showed footage where he tossed something. And I'm not the judge and jury in that case, but yet and still, once he turned his hands around and his hands was up, he was giving you permission to come get me. I don't have anything on me at this point. Now you can arrest me. So I think it's just the approach that they take with us.
Now the Chicago incident. Let me.
Is this Dante?
Purpose of this.
Right?
No, Dante was in Minnesota.
Okay.
That's the worst thing that could have happened to Chauvin. That's the worst thing that could have possibly happened while this is going on for another one to happen while his trial was going on.
In the same state. And it was only minutes apart. From where the incidents occurred, they're minutes apart.
Now, the Chicago incident, not saying that the police or law enforcement were in the right or in the wrong, but I can almost kind of justify or vindicate what they did, because they were chasing the 13-year-old who had a firearm in his hand.
Okay.
He dumped it over the fence. Yes, it was. It's been verified that it was a firearm. He dumped it over the fence and simultaneously turned as he dumped it. So you didn't know if he still had the gun or not.
So my thing was this: had it been if he was in downtown Chicago, and he was doing the same thing, and and he wasn't brown or black, whatever the case may be, simultaneous or not, you hear more black and brown people getting killed, whether they surrender or not. You have them wielding knives. A man they showed, even there have been cases this week where a man was in a car, an older man had a gun, and they knew he had a gun. They ain't open fire on him.
I understand that, and I agree with you wholeheartedly.
So it's just an approach that they take.
All I'm saying is, in that specific situation in Chicago, I almost kind of can see.
I can't.
Me either.
I'm Ray Charles, because at the end of the day, you cannot continue to be like.
I'm not
you
saying
can't
continue,
see everything.
but at the end of the day, as an officer, you want to go home at night too.
And I understand.
You don't go to this job. You don't log on from MetLife at home every day thinking that when I'm done.
Why are you telling my place of employment?
Why are we doing that?
Don't do that. Be getting us all.
You don't log on to your job.
Ethics.
You don't log on to your job thinking that there's a possibility that I won't be able to log on tomorrow because my life is gone.
Right, but there are situations where you are on calls with people, and sometimes they get into a situation where you have to call the police. Like I used to work in health insurance, and a lady called in. She was looking for a mental health therapist or whatever, but she was threatening herself to kill herself. I had all her information there, so I'm sitting on the phone with her. In the process, I am emailing my manager, giving her this person's address. We had to call the police.
That's
they don't
the
know what type
training
of
part of
yeah.
it. So the police,
Right.
their job is 99% communication. They're supposed to be talking,
I agree.
not reaching for tasers, not reaching. They should be talking. And once my hands are like this, I'm done talking.
I agree.
So you shouldn't
Absolutely.
reach
That's
for
your red-
it. There
that's
was
your white
no
flag.
reason for them to pull the trigger on that little
Absolutely.
boy.
Okay,
None.
so with that being said, you as a mother of a son, how does that rear the way that you educate your child?
We've been
Absolutely.
talking.
Okay.
It doesn't start at 15. It starts at 9, and it's so sad.
Right.
But once you become old enough to know you're a threat, it's time to have those conversations. We want to wait and baby. I don't. I've never babied my
Right.
son, but the conversations start early. But at this point, to me, it doesn't even matter because you can be compliant. You can be yes, sir, no, sir. You can be whatever you, and they still, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I hate to say it because it takes one bad cop to ruin everybody. I don't care that there are good cops out there. That doesn't matter to me anymore. I can talk to my son until he's blue in the face, what to do, what not to do, and he can 100%
Articulate.
comply.
Yes.
And he could still not come home to me.
So Gina, like me knowing you, and I know your father's background,
Mm-hmm.
and so he has, a law background. Don't get me wrong. How does he communicate that information? Or like, what is his position when he's talking to his grandson about his interaction with whether it's law enforcement or anybody in a place of authority? Because it's not just law enforcement you have to be concerned with. Like, let's be honest. Is
not.
anybody who feel like they over you at this point? Like, for real.
So I let my son have that conversation with my father himself. I don't really listen to those conversations. I don't really chime in because I'm the sensitive woman, right? And so when it comes from a man, it's harder. It's stern. It's what he needs to hear. It's way different than the delivery that mom would give. So those conversations between my son and my father I'm not privy to those.
Okay.
My dad will come back and say, hey, I talked to him about this case. Now what he said about the case, I don't know. I don't know what the conversation was. And if my son feels comfortable enough to say, I have some more questions, then I'll jump on the phone with my dad and say, well, maybe he didn't feel comfortable
Absolutely.
asking you these, but now let's talk. But for the most part, I'm not privy to their conversations.
So once again, in how you're raising your child, I had the opportunity to meet him for the first time earlier this week. I'm very impressed by him and his demeanor
Thank
and the
you.
way he carries himself.
Thank you.
But do you now become a little bit more protective of the environment that he's in? Like I can say, I was his age 25 years ago and doing the same thing he's doing, playing sports and what have you. It was nothing for me to say, hey, Dad, I'm catching a ride with such and such. I'm going to be at such and such house, blah, 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 blah. And I was a little bit sheltered in that respect because, the kids I was hanging out with weren't really causing too much trouble or doing anything that we know of, But today, you never know what these kids are doing or whom they're affiliated with or, who they pretend to be on social media. So do you have to be more guarded as to how your parental roles with them?
Because he's a black male, I can't. That would, to me, debilitate him even more. So, case in point, they were playing basketball around the corner from the YMCA. So I live in a predominantly white
community.
area. And he's like, Mom, it's like 6 of them. We're going to walk up to racetrack. And in my mind, I'm going, okay, you got to go up the street, go down the street, and then turn. So in my mind, I'm like, do I pull up and see if they made it okay? And I was like, well, just text me and let me. And I'm praying, right? And I'm praying. Please let these boys make it safe. And he came home that evening. He was like, Mom, we didn't have masks to go into the store. So there was a guy leaving. He happened to be Caucasian. And they started a conversation. And he asked them, how do you all feel about what's going on? Are you scared of the cops? And I was like, so y'all talk to this man?
Yeah.
Like, first of all, did you talk to him? And so my son was like, well, we asked him for masks so they can go into the store. And that's what made him say, you guys are okay talking to me, so let me ask you about what's going on.
Right.
And one of the questions was, are you afraid of the cops? And one of the older boys was like, absolutely. If I see one, I'm going the other way.
Right.
And then I'm like, so guys, if you see one, you need to keep walking because you look suspicious when you turn around. So why are we not telling our children this?
And it's funny because our kids aren't growing up with all the like those kids. Like they're not growing up in the 80s and the 90s where there was still like some bit of race. But these kids, they don't see color, and we don't teach them that. I still tell people all the time, like I tell people all the time when Jaden was coming up, I never told her if a person was black, brown, white, whatever. So when she was describing me, somebody at her school, 9 times out of 10, I knew what they were. But when she got into, because she was in private school at a private Baptist school, and then when she got into public school, it was like, yeah, so-and-so's mom bringing us cupcakes. I said, okay, and well, what she look like? She said, Mom, she got long hair. I said, well, what color is her hair? Like, so I'm getting her to explain it to me because she would never tell me what color they was, and I love that because I didn't want her to see the color of it. But sometimes it comes to bite you in the butt because later in life when they realize that they were always kind of like the only, or it was them and one other person, I've been grateful to, like, I have an extremely amazing village. So we have everything in our family. Like our extended family, like especially I'll share, we have a Chapel family that they were like my baby's second family. They are still. I miss them, I do. But they, they're a biracial couple, but they don't see color. Like they didn't. And they act that way, and it was expressed to us in every sense of the word, and will guard my baby. I trust them with my baby's life, like, because that's how good they were and are to us. So everybody's not raising their kids, to always hate or see the bad and stuff like that, and these kids don't see it. So when they're approached by officers, they're only doing what their friends do. Their friends are able to say, hey, well, why you stop me? And our kids, I don't want our kids to be scared to ask that same question, but they have to proceed with caution. It's a different level of caution.
Can't do everything your friends do.
Cannot. So, real quick, I want to give a shout out to the gentleman who we had on as a guest last week, my man Rob Thomas, the Church Sinatra,
nice.
the ghetto philosopher, the big boy president. I was on his podcast Thursday night over on Keeping It Real Radio, called From the Car to the Table, where we discussed this a little bit, and I enjoyed the conversation with Rob and another brother. But one thing that we brought up on this same subject was, what do you think is worst case scenario for society if a non-guilty verdict does come back?
They gonna burn the city down.
Yeah, it's gonna be like Watts, back old school Watts, when they burned the city, like when they burned it down. And it's sad because it's our community that's getting burned down. It's not like they're going over into the Ritz side, the ritzy and rich, lavish side of town. They're only in their own. Maybe they should, and maybe they can catch an Uber out there. I don't really care, but I feel like they need to be getting there as fast as they can, and by plane, all of that same song. You get what I'm saying?
Well, what's the saying? I am not my ancestors. Like we're tired.
Tired.
It's enough of the peaceful walking and holding hands and showing camaraderie. They're tired. It's enough of that.
But it's crazy that whenever it's something related to black and brown people, that it's handled differently. Because the night that happened with Deontay Wright, they had the National Guard there quick and fast. But when they got up on Capitol Hill, they were slow. Like at a turtle's pace. Like, that amazes me that you would be so worried about property versus the safety and well-being of people who are actually at work. And you're coming with guns. It wasn't like they didn't. It wasn't like that. They actually came with guns. It's always the way that they approach us. If the same thing happened in Minnesota when George Floyd died, that young boy who drove to Minnesota to be there part of the protest, but he actually shot and killed a couple of the protesters. He walked right past police saying, "Oh, they down there," but he has a rifle in his hand, and they never stopped him. So, like I said, it's the conditioning of their minds, the way they're trained to approach us. That has to change. And people get offended when they say, about reform and defund the police. It's not about you don't need the police. They're saying use that money for different, allocate that money differently. Sometimes you may have to clean house. And I think if they start making them responsible for some of these lawsuits, make them carry their own insurance, I guarantee you some of that stuff will cut down, because as long as they can kill and the city has to pay for it, it's not a problem.
So going along with that, earlier this week, we had a situation, you and I, Shannon, we always talk sports. That's one of our hobbies and what have you. So we went through the whole Colin Kaepernick thing a couple of years ago with him kneeling and it becoming this, this big anti-flag, anti-United States deal, which absolutely wasn't the case in what Colin was trying to represent.
Absolutely.
But when they're saying we were disrespecting the military, then to come to find out a military officer gets pepper sprayed, by a police officer earlier this week.
How interesting
how
is
disrespectful is that?
or the military vet who was harassing the young black man walking in Carolina.
Yep.
While he
absolutely.
was in his own
neighborhood.
neighborhood.
And then your wife is there egging you on. Cause like, so I'm from the old school. You mess with my baby, I'm coming for you. So I wouldn't have fought her husband because I would have called Peoples for that. However, his wife would have got these hands real swift.
All
It
of
would have been just like Justice Swift.
But look
we
at
ready.
how the community showed up. They was at his house within
Yeah.
hours. They were, oh, wait, what?
And you had to call the police to help them get them out your yard
Yeah,
because
we
it was
are
too
not
many for you
sitting
to
down
try and deal
anymore.
with it.
They're tired. We're tired.
But I love when we can come together like that. When we can support each other
Keep
like
that
that.
same energy.
Absolutely. And we have to keep it all the way around.
So in the event that there is going to be, some type of protest due to a verdict that we all don't want to see upcoming, what do you think will be the best way for us to come together? I mean, how do we become impactful
We
without
always
becoming
have
violent?
to go back to the table and start over from scratch every time we get slapped down. Like that, this has to be bigger than us.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be these people that we're voting for, putting them in these offices. And I'm not
That's
necessarily
where it
saying the
starts.
president because he doesn't. To me, at the end of the day, he doesn't really control that. That's that house. That's that represent. That's why people. That's the Senate. Those are the people that you need to know locally, on a state level. You need to know those
vote.
people, and that's why. Again, Georgia trying to suppress that voting, trying to figure out any way they
Because
can.
they know.
They already know. They're scared. So the best way to do anything to black people is you try to put us in fear.
Well, and that's a point that we brought up Thursday on the podcast I was speaking of. Right now, and trust me, I was raised in a situation where my father taught me that every black man that you meet isn't your friend, every white man that you meet isn't your enemy.
Correct.
So I don't think that I'm a racist. Even though I say I'm pro-black, I don't think I'm racist. And one of those situations is now that for so long, whites have been portrayed as the majority in this country. And the numbers, when it comes to census and what have you, actually show that they're in the minority when it comes to African Americans, Latino Americans, Asian Americans, what have you. They're now the minority. Although they were the minority, financially, they still control most of the wealth. And with African Americans, Asian Americans, Latin Americans now becoming more entrepreneurial, that grasp that they had on financial power is starting to dwindle. And now it's starting to be like anytime you back a cat into a corner, what do? They come out fighting. So
Absolutely.
this is how they know how to fight. This is basically their last option. They see the pendulum just swinging away from them.
That's why
And
that's why a lot of them tend to, you see in the city, you're like, oh my goodness, it's gentrification. Oh, they just getting you out the city so they can run it, because even though you live in the county, you still follow the city rules.
Pretty
Understand that. So while we're all excited about home ownership and we're all the way out and we got this space and stuff like that, these people are comfortable living in the city with that little half acre, not even a half acre, but just a little slight, little plot of land. And they're happy with that because they understand the power of how being in the city affects and impacts the whole county. So whether they live in the city of Tampa, it dictates what you do way out there in Riverview,
Gibsonton.
Loops, Gibsonton. Yeah, unless it doesn't have, they don't care. When that mayor put that curfew out, didn't the people in the county have to deal with that
They
curfew?
did.
They didn't have no separate rules. It was just like, oh, okay, this is what we doing. That's what it is. And they require law enforcement to enforce that. Many of them did, but that is the whole thing. They understand the bigger picture, whereas we're like, okay, want to get rid of this, want to get rid of that. I want to save because the property taxes are too high. But you spend it, honestly, if you look at it, the price in gas and where you were commuting to work at the time, it probably would even out. And people just are just taking it for what, taking it away. So you really got to think about the bigger picture in the grand scheme of things. And I think that goes to deal with us with education. That's why even with them tearing down, when they tore down the projects, now you see them high rises coming up over there. Tore West Tampa all the way down. Right. Right. A 300 square foot box costs you $900.
$900.
Yeah.
Who's doing that?
Yeah, it's a studio. But
okay.
that's what it is. And they're coming in because, look, they're from up north. They got the extra money. Oh, that's cheap to them. They would pay, a good $1,500 for that. So it's all about, looking at the bigger picture in the grand scheme. So we can hold on to these different spaces. And I'm not saying that, for financial reasons, if it makes sense to you to move out to the county, but stay involved in what's going on. Know who your representatives are, because at the end of the day, that's what controls it.
Right.
So before we take our first break, I'm gonna do what I always do: put my conspiracy theory hat on. Y'all tell me what you think about
raggedy,
that.
but go
raggedy.
ahead.
So check it. you got a situation where people have seen how we have protested after verdicts, going all the way back to Rodney King, going back to Watts, what have you. We all know that there's a higher power that pretty much controls everything in the United States. Very calculated, very methodical. I don't think it would be too far-fetched for them to say, you know what, if we return it, if a non-guilty verdict comes back in this trial, we already know that they're going to riot. We know this, and it's going to be all over the country. We're gonna find him guilty. But then once they find him guilty, all of a sudden he just disappears in the system.
It's possible. You've been
He's a
watching. You
witness
watch Olivia
protection
Pope. You used to watch her.
Hey, you know,
Anything is possible. But
art imitates life, right?
Yep.
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you think that's a possibility?
Oh yeah.
I
Definitely.
think because people are watching this too closely, and now you have real activists out there again. Like back in the day, you can't just keep throwing stuff under the rug and trying to escape. Because people now, you have too much social media. People have access to the internet, so they know how to find. Just like how fast do you think people be finding these people addresses?
Right.
Once they release their last name, they be on the internet because it's public record. They go get that address. They go find out where they at. They track down whether you in jail or not. The system is so, like, in a sense now, it's not like you can just hide things like you used to.
Mm-hmm.
The internet is too far advanced. How about everybody knew about COVID about 10, 15 years ago?
Well, and that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. It's like we're so past that age.
I mean,
now.
think about it like this: the government basically, it's a theory that they covered up the assassination of JFK and where the bullet came from and what have you. It's stated that hell, watching television shows like we do, the government brought in drugs to fund the Iran-Contra here.
That is true.
Watch
Shout out Snoop Dogg.
You know what I'm saying?
Shout out Snoop Dogg.
Franklin is
Shameless
legit.
plug.
What are you
So-
talking
so
about?
what I'm saying, I mean,
Franklin real.
and the lady who wrote the
That
article
is too.
about
I-
Franklin, what
That
happened to her?
was
Yeah.
she did, but
Exactly.
that's
Government.
real. It may not be her real name.
She was drinking and driving, all right?
Exactly.
Yeah, because that happens.
So I mean, it's not beyond me to think that there will be a guilty verdict that comes back, but
But I think
all of a
his
sudden
is
he's just
so
gonna be
so
gone.
publicized. You always need that one. If
We'll be
maybe
caught up
your
in the
girl, maybe
celebration.
the lady who killed Deontay,
Deontay.
she might be, because the laws of justice is different for women than
Mm-hmm.
it is for men. Because like for example, and I'll just give this, just trying to give you a tale of two things. The teacher that was here in Tampa who was caught with the student, she was too pretty to go to jail, so they figured out everything else around it. But let that
These
had been a
guys go-
PE coach and a man, they gonna hang him like he was Jesus on a cross. They gonna nail him.
I got one for
that's
y'all.
that's the way life
George
works.
Zimmerman.
Absolutely.
That mess.
And the sad part about it is that he'll get his, because somebody else tried to kill him at another time. They
Several
didn't
times.
succeed, but he's been,
Yeah.
so
That's what makes you
gonna
think
happen.
about it, because he was in the public spotlight during that whole trial, and he got away with it.
But he was in Florida because you got to
Exactly.
stay in your ground. So a lot of
Exactly.
people get away with staying your ground. That's the stupidest thing on the books. And if you are listening as a public figure in the state of Florida, that's the first thing y'all need to be taking off them books.
Right, and then
So
the
these
other
people
thing
were
was that
voting
he
for
kept
it.
on trying to stay.
Well, I
relevant.
think they should keep it on the books. They should just adjust it, because people do get, like, if somebody's trying to rob me
You can get it as self-defense.
and I shoot that person, then I'll be going
That
to
can
jail.
be self-defense.
However, they should make it to where if you instigate something and
Like
then
your guy
there's
in St.
gunfire, you're just as
Like your
you're
guy
in
in
the
St.
mix.
Pete, but that still can be the same
Yeah.
thing as self-defense. You can adjust the rules and laws around self-defense to make it fit that. But as long as
Yeah.
you have stand your ground, you're making innocent people pray at times for stuff that's not even called for. So that's the only thing I think, and I can agree. Even if they keep it on the books, at least make it align with self-defense in
fix it.
some kind of way, so you can fix that. But that does need to be fixed. Head into this break, baby.
Very good, very good. We're having good conversation here on His, Hers, and Ours, a real-life couple having real-life conversation with real-life friends. We're going to head into the first break, and then we're going to come back. First segment was a little bit heavy. We got into some serious topics. We're going to make it a little bit lighthearted coming back and, rev Gina up a little bit.
So go grab
I see.
something to drink. We will be back in about 2 minutes. You won't hear anything on Facebook. It gets quiet, but come
Yeah,
back
we
and
got it
join us.
muted. So if you want to hear the music, tune into the Spreaker or the iHeart or whatever your streaming
Spotify.
platform is,
Absolutely.
and find a show.
We'll be back.
Stevie Wonder, baby.
So you were putting that old school.
Yeah, that's a lot of.
Over time, I've been building my castle of love. like some other day. And though you don't believe that they do come true. For did my dreams come true when I looked at you? And maybe too if you would believe, you too might be overjoyed, overloved over me. The heart I have painfully turned every stone just to find I had found what I've searched to discover. I've come much too far for me now to find the love that I sought can never be mine. And though you don't believe that they do come true. For did my dreams come true when I looked at you? And maybe too if you would believe, you too might be overjoyed, overloved, over me. Chance, and maybe with a chance you will find you too like I, overjoyed, overloved over you.
Welcome back. His, hers, and ours. I'm your co-host Solomon Davis with
Shannon Royal Davis.
and all the way from New Tampa, our guest of the day, Miss Gina. Now, inside joke here. Gina is the new general manager of a team we putting together in Tampa, the Tampa Bay 6-footers.
Oh my gosh, don't do that. So, don't do my friend like that. Don't be throwing my friend under the bus. So, that opens up an interesting question. Okay, so we always talk about relationships and all kinds of stuff. So, Gina, you are on the hot seat. So, my girl Gina is single.
Really?
And so, when I ask this question, I need you to explain this. Okay, so when you're out here dating and you're on apps, whatever the case may be, because that's the new trend of dating now, the new way of dating.
COVID, but yeah.
Absolutely. Are you dating with a purpose or going with the flow?
I date with a purpose.
And do you express that?
Absolutely.
So is that coming date 1, 2, 3? What date does that come on?
Probably the second one. No, not the first one. I need to feel. I need a vibe. I need to see if I even want to
Go on a second
tell
date.
you. Right. Want to tell you that I'm dating with a purpose. So no, it'll be the second one.
Okay. And so you being, how tall are you?
My driver's license says 5 foot.
But
That's just like an NBA roster. They said Allen Iverson was 6'2". We know he was 5'10".
yeah. So, with that being said, you expressed to us when we were having off-air conversation that you prefer a certain height of guy.
I do.
So, when does a checklist supersedes a wish list? Because I feel like wanting something at a certain height or somebody at a certain height is kind of more of a wish list, or is it on your checklist? Is that required?
So, I probably have 4 things on my checklist. It
Yeah.
has dwindled down as I've aged and matured.
Let us know what those 4 things are.
Yeah, please.
So my friend say she don't want to tell y'all right now, but go ahead, friend.
Please. T.
So 6 foot. When I'm on an app, honest to God, if it says anything under 6 foot, I'm swiping left. I promise. I probably have carpal tunnel because
Because they 5'10", 5'11",
You don't make
and
any
a
exceptions.
half.
So let me say this, right? So I met someone on an app, and he said he was 6 foot. But when we got in person, I was like, I could tell you're not 6 foot, but you're still taller than me enough, comfortably.
But at your height, everybody's taller than you.
There is a level of security, I feel, with a taller, huskier man. A short man can't. Even a taller, skinny man couldn't do that for me.
Really? I didn't know it was skinny too, friend. Like, this is a real.
So now you got to be
specific-
6'2", 220.
Yeah.
I don't have a weight
222.
requirement. He just
Right.
can't be sticks. Like,
Gotcha.
Don't be
Okay.
tall and
That's the
lanky.
same requirement I have.
See?
I can't have sticks. You have to have a little bit of meat.
So, thank you, and I think that's fair. There's nothing wrong with that.
But that's a preference.
It is.
Okay.
Okay, that's one. That's the other three.
So 6 foot. He's like a beard. You working on it?
No, I can't. You know him. Look at him. Look at him.
Yes, Serge got the beard.
Because he looks like was Jerry Garcia? Jerry Garcia.
Let her finish.
Please continue.
So 6 foot or taller, a beard. Number 3.
What if they got one of them fake beards?
That's a no.
Wait,
That's a no.
You gotta be real.
But y'all can wear lace fronts and all that.
That's on
for
the
y'all.
top of my head, though.
So if he had it at the top of his head, because you know they feel like that they want some help. So if he had it at the top of his head, is
No,
it
it's
okay?
not. You have to cut that off.
Just go by.
Please.
Yeah, but what if you don't know?
Oh, we gonna
true. You know what I'm
find
saying?
out.
Eventually, I mean, we got to find out. Like I said, y'all got lace fronts, y'all got extensions.
Y'all gotta go to bed
Look,
sometime.
you
But
right.
some of them sleep with their. I don't. I take mine off.
I mean,
saying.
eyelashes. What else we want to
Keep
do?
it real.
Because I keep you sound like you throwing shade over here,
Hey, listen.
homeboy. I'm gonna need you to cooperate.
Thank you,
'Cause you gotta
Mrs.
go
Royal
home.
Davis.
You
Thank
gotta
you.
go home.
Thank you.
You gotta
Team
go home.
Solomon, let's go.
Hey,
That's right.
that's
Hashtag.
one.
Cooperate.
How
We're
many
at
did you
three.
give?
All right, so number 3.
I think we could stop at 2. I think that's enough.
Yeah, she don't want to give them
Oh,
all
it's
away.
okay. Right.
You don't have to give them all out. We did say on the
Stop
hot
it, too.
seat, and you
Yeah,
had
that's
the
true.
ability to say, and I'll answer or not. But I mean,
I plead the fifth.
right now, I only know 2 people that fit that, and that's Mike Evans and Drake.
Oh,
So
she
you ain't
didn't
know
say
2
light
people now.
skin. She
No,
didn't
light
say
skin is
oh,
on my
you did
list.
say light
Light
That,
skin
there
on
you go,
the
number
list.
3.
Oh my
That's
gosh!
my number 3.
So, friend, let
It's
me
my
explain something.
preference.
Right, but when does a preference impacts the way? Like, okay, so let's think about it like this. Let's say there is a guy who treats you well, who does all of these, like, who's able to, like, he takes you on these dates. He's able to provide. He's able to protect you. Like, y'all are able to grow. He meets all your mental stimulation needs. And then because he's not light skinned, he may have a beard. He may be dark skinned with a beard. Let's say he's 5'10", but
How about
he's whining and dining you and spending time with you
Quality
and doing all
time,
this quality
showing
things, like
interest
showing
in you as a
interest.
person.
Investing time in you and your son, like really trying to put in that family time.
Putting in work.
He really
Right.
he making it hard for himself because he dark skinned. He can't help.
He
it
won't
that
even
with
get
his
the
big
opportunity.
This is so hard nosed. Like, I'm sorry, no.
It's not a hard no.
Okay.
Okay.
There you go.
It's just a
It's flexible.
preference. And so let me just say this, right? As a black woman, I'm tired of defending my preferences. Can I say that?
Okay,
Hey,
yeah,
I
absolutely.
should not have to defend why I want what I want.
Okay.
I have to do that when I go to work. I have to do that with and it's so crazy because my single friends, they don't ever say this to me. It's always the married friends and the ones who are in really deep relationships.
You want to know why that is?
Go ahead.
Because, and I'm going to think I'm speaking for Shannon, but I'm not going to put
Don't
words in her mouth.
say
I'll speak
yeah,
for myself.
please, because sometimes
Because you do have those preferences, and 9 times out of 10, when you get that one who you find is, you know what, Shannon's my soulmate. There ain't no other. I mean, if something happens between me and Shannon, I probably won't get married again. That's it. She's the end all be all. If you would ask me 10, 15 years ago if I had a checklist, I probably would have said yeah. Would Shannon have met some of those boxes? Absolutely. Would she have checked all of them? Probably not. But if I had said, you know, my significant other is going to be based on this, Shannon might not have even gotten the opportunity to be in the role that we are right
And
now.
Hold
that's
up, you
fair.
wouldn't have gotten an opportunity, homeboy. Don't be talking about no Shannon because
Hey, listen, we already went through the story of
okay.
this.
Yeah, so don't be.
You know,
go ahead,
But you
just
all
for the sake
had
of this
the
conversation.
opportunity to date and whatever, and you all found, okay, this is what works. So what I'm saying is, as a single woman who wants a 6 foot beard and whatever I want, give me that. Let me do that.
But it,
This is the
doesn't
example I
small
put
in the
out there.
pool though. Like the pool, like when
Exactly.
does the preference outweighs reality? Like at what time does that become okay? He's meeting these things on my checklist. It's just that because he's not light or he's not the certain height or whatever the case may be. When does that impact like cross paths and how and it affects what are you actually wanting?
when I get tired of
Okay.
not getting the needs versus the wants, that's
Okay.
when it'll.
Okay, so this is how I laid
Okay.
it out. You take the circle. The circle is the whole population of men out there, 100%. When you say now over 6 foot, now you taking 100%
6 foot or taller.
over 6 foot.
6 foot.
Okay, so now that 100% gets dwindled down to 70%.
Okay.
Now they have to have a beard. That 70% now becomes 55%.
Lies. It's like
Now
these
so
beards out here saving these men's lives. Okay.
so you go from that to now they got to be
Saving their life.
light skinned. Now that's 40%.
That is a preference.
Exactly, but you think your preference is just your preference only, that you're the only female that has that preference?
I can't speak for other female, but I'm sure they have.
Those
all
same
separate.
preferences.
Yeah.
Now y'all all have these same preferences, but you aren't choosing from the 100%. All of y'all are going after 45% of the population. The odds are not in your favor.
No, they're not.
I mean,
But,
as Biggie
with that
said,
being
hard throb
said,
never, black and
even
ugly as
with
ever.
they're having a preference, it's not doesn't necessarily mean and when we're saying like, when does a preference impact what you really are looking for? It doesn't. It's not taking away what you're wanting. Your desires at the end of the day is to be whatever your end game is. So if it doesn't take, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have your preferences because you absolutely should. But and like you said, coming from a married space, I dated a long time. I waited to get married. I did. Marriage was not. Oh boy,
Uh-oh.
don't play with
No.
me. Don't play. Don't play. So I was one of those people who I did not see, like I didn't have the idea of having kids, like at a certain age. I barely even played with dolls when I was a little girl. Like I was such a tomboy, but I was still girly at the same time. But I just did not have the desire to have a bunch of kids. That wasn't my thing. Marriage, I always said I'd probably be in my 30s when I got married because I felt like I just wanted to live the same way. And at times up until I probably was about 30 or so, I wasn't dating with a purpose. It was dating like, okay, I'm just dating you. It wasn't I'm trying to get married to you because you have different things that will come up and I'd be like, yeah, see, this is why we just dating. So it was just different things for me. I just think that sometimes our preferences should not outweigh our values or our morals or what we're actually looking for, because it does make that pool smaller rather. And it is a lot of women out here. That's why men are able to be out here like, oh, okay, I'm swiping because he's swiping right because he don't care if she's 6 foot. He like, oh, okay, she fine. I like that. Men are visual, so like we discussed one time
You
before.
said it last week. Men date outside in, women date inside out.
Right.
So that's why they swiping right.
Right. So they don't be like, okay, she got to be light skinned, she got to be tall. And some of them probably do.
Hey, we do have checklists though.
They probably do. They do.
Yeah.
So what's on your checklist? I mean, find out. Besides just
I don't have
breathing,
an
wanna
eye
hear all
issue.
of this. Go ahead.
Unless like you're a midget, then there's a problem.
So I can't get a check,
Little
but
person.
Honestly, and this has developed over the years. I have a real specific preference to black women.
Mm-hmm.
That's just developed because like the first woman I really got into any type of situation with was black, and I got used to that.
Oh, your skin tough, brother, because baby.
And I know about the hair
Not
secrets
bad.
and everything, so I made notes over the years. No, but no, just that's really about it. I mean, outside of now, I do have a little thing about like, don't be crazy.
Okay. Oh,
I think that's everybody.
I think, look, that's
But
everybody.
at the same time,
Nobody
like,
wants
you have to
that.
accept that because you never know.
And sometimes, like, you know what, though? I think sometimes, like, we have a friend of ours who went, and she's, like, newly divorced or whatever the case may be. But she'll admit, like, look, I have ADHD. She'll tell you real quick that if somebody can't do it, she'll be like, look, you got to be cool enough to understand, like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be focused on this right now. Like, that doesn't, So I'm cool with understanding if a person tells you that up front because it allows you an opportunity to figure out how you deal with it or if you want to even be bothered with it. So it's just out here dating. It's so many things that you want to look out for,
Right.
and you try to pay attention to all those red flags. That when you do try and like put in like these stipulations and stuff like that, that also makes the pool different. Because like even if you got a 6 footer, He could be crazy. Yeah, but it's all about what you're asking them. So I don't think, like, I give Gina a hard time. I just play with her or whatever about, like, these preferences or whatever. But that's her choice.
Right.
She's free to date like that.
And
She's
like you said, as a black woman, you do owe it to yourself to have those preferences.
Right.
And just because we're sitting here talking about it, you don't change the way you operate
No.
based on
Y'all
us
know
and what
me.
have you.
ain't
I would
changing.
never-
Yeah, I was like,
I would
that's
never.
not the friend
No,
there.
but what I am saying is, or what I would like to lead into the next topic with, is the fact that while you're looking for that, instead of dating with a purpose, why not just date to be dating until you find what it is that you're looking for?
So can I say I'm not conditioned that way?
Okay.
How
you go.
I was raised, it was not date. It was date, marry, kid. Like there was it's
Formula.
taken some therapy to realize I don't have to do what my parents did. I don't have to buy groceries the way my mother did. I could do me how I want to do me.
Right.
But that takes time. So I'm not conditioned that way. A lot of people, are you dating multiple? I don't know how to do that. I can be honest, I don't know how to date more than one person.
And I've heard several females say that in conversations that I've had.
That wasn't me.
You know.
I almost said something.
That
almost
was
said
not your
something.
girl.
Yeah, but
Go
the whole
ahead.
conditioning thing, she's right, because, like, in a way, I was sort of conditioned to be, like, the nice guy and to treat women with respect and to do this and to that. And to...
You don't know how to do that with most
It's so
people.
hard to give up on that because, like, I see my friends, I see, people that don't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
it's
Assholes.
exactly assholes.
Absolutely.
I can't do that. As hard as I want to try to do that, I can't do that.
And
I
the
just-
ones that be the assholes be the one with multiple women. And you
Right,
like,
exactly.
Like for real. Like
Exactly,
girls,
you're
they be
right.
The ones with all the women. I'm like, girl, you don't see how that's
You don't see who treating you like shit?
out here.
You don't
Right.
see him like with your
I
girl,
agree.
yeah, and it bothers me personally because like I as I grew
Mm-hmm.
and understood things, it was like you see your own friends doing that, and you're like, man, I don't know if you should be doing that, bro.
Gotcha.
Like treat a woman with respect, but they don't.
Right.
They're just in and out of beds, on the one girl onto the next one. See, I can't do that. I'm not built like that.
See, me
You know what I'm saying?
I'm not conditioned.
You
that
gotta
way.
treat them.
Dating doesn't necessarily mean, sleeping with everyone
Right.
or what have
You're
you.
right.
Yeah.
But so in a situation like this, I mean, let's say you have a guy friend who y'all are strictly platonic, but you enjoy the time that you guys spend together. What's the problem with you saying, or him saying to you, so it goes both ways,
Right.
hey, why don't you get dressed tonight, put on a nice little dress, what have you, that you look good in, and let's just go have dinner, or, let's just, go catch some live music and just enjoy each other.
So it's so funny you bring that up because I'm actually trying that with the guy I was telling y'all about
Right.
last weekend because I'm not conditioned to do that. I've been conditioned if the man isn't pursuing you, he doesn't want you. If the man isn't calling you, he doesn't want to talk to you. But it takes a second to say, well, I want to talk to you. Let me call. Why am I waiting? But again, it's all about how you're
And
conditioned.
I think that's how we were all
Right.
conditioned, at some point in time. Because, like, when your family, when your parents, like, they were taught different ways. Like I said, I was lucky enough. My dad just was different. Like, my parents raised us different. Like, we could talk and have conversation with them. Like, if they did stuff, and I tell people all the time, Solomon vouch because my mom would tell them the same thing. If they did something to us, we could be like, oh, I'm going to call a meeting. I'm going to wait. Let me see what their schedule look like. We would schedule a family meeting and have agenda and everything. But everybody's not like that. So, for us, when we were growing up, my dad was a young dad. Like, he was a teenage dad. So, his approach wasn't always like, oh, okay, she going to have to marry whoever she had that baby from. Like, he had a different approach because he lived through that process. Then it wasn't like, okay, yes, she had that baby now. We going to force them to get married. He wasn't like that because that didn't happen to him. So, I think that through the ages, like through time, like we have to get away from our traditional setups
Right.
of what worked for our parents. And I think sometimes as black women, we always want to please our mom. We don't want them to like look at us differently. So a lot of times that is why we try to stay on that same page or whatever the case may be. But like right now, Brandon tell you real quick, she's like, yeah, they fall out with me, but I'm calling them tomorrow. Like, so, because we were, like I said, she was a different type of mom. My mom wasn't the same mom as everybody else. My family wasn't super strict. And not that it restricted us from doing stuff. They told us no. It just, they just talked to us totally different. So we didn't have that fear getting out here and dating and things like
Well,
that.
it's not fear. I don't want to use that term.
Okay,
It's
maybe
not
it's a bad
fear.
word for fear.
It's just
Just the process.
right.
process.
It's just
Well,
the process.
How about you?
Gotcha.
I mean, and this is just advice I can give, and especially with how we operate today as a people. Why not look at dating as like eating or your occupation? you know you got to eat to survive. If you're hungry, you're not going to sit back and wait for somebody to say, hey, Gina, I brought you a plate. You're going to go get it.
Right.
With the job, you know you have a son you need to provide for. You got to provide for yourself. You need a roof over your head, clothes, food, what have you. You're not going to wait for somebody to say, here, Gina, here's a job. You're going to go out and get a job. And even at the position that you're in, you're always looking to grow in that position.
Right.
So why should you have to wait for a man to pursue you? If there's something you want, go get it.
And the one I want to pursue me, I'm going to turn around and pursue him. Hell, maybe he's never had a woman pursue him before. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe,
you know what?
Maybe that's how he's conditioned. He would rather have a woman who has a plan rather than waiting on him to come up with all the plans. I look at you two. You do way more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Speak your truth, queen.
It ain't pause.
Team Solomon, baby.
It's not like time out. She's not saying nothing I haven't said because I say all the time. Solomon is way more romantic than me. He does a lot more shopping. Like he takes out all of that detail in that time. That's not me. As I stated to y'all before, I was hanging out with my daddy. So it's nothing wrong with it. It's just simply that he's like that. But let me explain something. The way that you see Solomon, when you saw my father-in-law, didn't you see that same resemblance?
I did.
My father-in-law is single. He done been married twice.
No.
I was asking.
No.
No, but he's single. He's been married twice. So, like, my father-in-law is a consummate gentleman. And he raised my husband that way. So, when you see them, like, when he came in and brought me something when he came in the house. He was like, oh, here.
A bag full of.
Yeah, but it was just the fact that he heard me talk to him about it before. And he was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to remember to bring those to her.
And he did.
So, that's just how they are. Not every man that I dated was in that same spot.
Right.
Like, they're not all turned, like, setting the mood lights. I'm like, oh, Gina coming in, you know, whatever. And you know my husband, so you're like, okay, I'm just going on here. He gonna make sure Gina got her drink, have everything, because that's how he is. He's been raised. My husband be in constant player mode. Like that's what I tell him. Like, baby, you ain't gotta play with me. I ain't got time for that, right? Like, let's just do this. But that is honestly how he is. He's constantly in a state of romance, and it just not even that, just a state of engagement. Now he ain't like that with no dudes. It's just only when it comes to women.
No.
So where vice versa, where I am the same way I'm with you all, I'm the same way with the guy. Like I don't try and turn nothing on or turn it off. It's just that's who I am. But he is absolutely, hands down, probably one of the most romantic people that I've dated. Or that I know, and just experienced that whole thing with. So Solomon is absolutely. So it's nothing like that.
One thing I will say is like we've gotten to this period of time where I got into using the phrase "we're in the 21st century" because women now are doing more things that they would never have done back in back in the day. And it's a lot of dudes aren't. Well, I can't say a lot of dudes aren't accepting of that. They're still built with the old school mentality. Me, I'm open minded enough to say, hey, you know what? If she pursues me or you know, ask me out, cool. I'm cool with that. It's just we as men in this modern age have to be a little bit more open and more accepting of that. Instead of being that real stout, like, okay, this is how it was, this is how it should be.
Now, the fear to that is, do I have to keep that up? Right. If I approach you, am I always going to be the dominant person?
That's the same fear we have. That's the same fear we have.
But that's the thing. Like, I think people forget that. Even though a woman is, like, and I said this in the first episode about women, we are very strong, we're very independent. We still like to be courted. So even if we put that out there and say, hey, let me initiate this, I would hope that you pick up the ball and run with it and be like, okay, she did
every
reach
so
out.
often, right? Not like every time, but sometimes.
And so that was something that Solomon expressed to me. He was like, look, I plan all our dates, I do this and that. Like he said, communication. And I said, you know what? That's cool. So what I started doing was scheduling date, like planning places to go like that. I had I'll be on Instagram and I snapshot somewhere. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make sure we go here. And I started doing that, trying to check off boxes to just say, okay, babe, you want to try this place? You want to try that? Because he was getting tired of doing it.
But that took communication.
And that's good. Yeah.
You brought that to her attention. And so then it's like, so do I do this while we're dating? Or do I wait until we're exclusively dating? Or do I... There's so much to dating. Now it sucks. Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's so much. You don't know...
That word you just mentioned is where I wanted to go next. Exclusive. So you stated that now, you know, there's an approach that you want to take to where you might be pursuing this guy. To what point does it become exclusive? And I guess the second part of that question is, in its infancy stage, when it's not exclusive, when you guys are just, you know, dating, getting to know each other, how do you feel if he's also doing that with someone else?
So the first question: at what point does it become exclusive? It's not exclusive until there's a conversation.
Okay.
There is no, this feels
assumption.
good. We've been
Absolutely.
hanging tight for a month now, so I know where it's. Until we have a conversation, it don't mean nothing. He could be doing the same thing he's doing with me, just on different days, right?
Right.
I got him on the weekend. She got him on Wednesday, right?
Gotcha.
So.
Wow.
Okay,
Scissor.
SZA.
I don't even like her. I
I'm glad all three of us were like this.
don't even like her. Anyway, but until there's a conversation, hey, you know what? I enjoy hanging out with you. Can we be exclusive? Are you dating somebody else? I think my initial approach to men is you're already dating multiple people. That's not even an option.
No,
That's
and that's
assumption.
real. No, because look at it. The available men, just in general, if you take a pool of 100 men, most available that are available, like 100 men, majority of them are, like, we'll take, let's say 70% of them aren't available. They just out here.
Right.
So they may be married and they still out here playing.
Yeah, that's
and
sad.
that may be, that's that pool. But look at there. Now that pool is short. So 70% working with 100% of the women that's available. Like that, now he has, the ratios is in his favor. So that's why women take that approach of, okay, he got a good job. He doing this. He doing that.
Got to be somebody else.
Yeah. Oh, somebody. He's somebody man. He everybody man. He for the streets. So that's how we automatically think he is for the streets.
Unless otherwise stated, he
Right,
is for the
exactly.
streets.
Well,
He is
that
for the
goes both
streets.
ways as well.
Exactly.
Because I mean, I don't hide anything. Like I said, in the past, I've been guilty of infidelities and what have you. And there is not a woman walking this planet who I can say that I had an extramarital or extra relationship affair with that can't say that they didn't know that I was with someone else. So you can tell a woman that, hey, I'm married or I'm dating someone. For these women out here that are quote unquote looking for
Nowadays.
somebody, that really doesn't matter to them.
And it doesn't, but it shouldn't matter to them because you're the one that's obligated and taken, not them. So I can't. No.
I don't
because
agree with
I don't
that.
care if they even approach you. At the end of the day, you have the right to say, "Hey, I'm taking," and you stick by your guns. Because even if you stick by your guns, they may have some hurt feelings, but they'll be like, "Oh, I respect them," and maybe they'll try and still pursue. But it's not like it's not.
Oh, I
happening
thought
to
you were
women.
saying that they were going to go along
No,
with...
no.
Okay.
Some of those women do go along with whatever he was telling them. Majority of them were going along with whatever he said. And my thing is that at the end of the day, and this is always my rule, I can't get mad at her like that. I got to get you because at the end of the day, you are what's tied to us. Now, I could be mad at her, but that goes into something else I brought up to Solomon. We're so much harder on the next woman. But we'll take that man back and be apologetic, and he up here making up.
Mrs. Jackson, what's her
Right,
name?
right.
Sorry, Miss Jackson.
Well, hold on. You want to know why that is, though? Her situation, and trust me, I'm not comparing you to her, but she could have had a checklist, and he happened to check all those boxes. So she realized that the population that she was actually fishing in was very, very small. So,
So
if
does
she
that
let
mean you
him
settle?
go,
I just hear you saying just settle.
Settling.
listen, look, I don't know if you heard the first episode, but I said there are 3 situations where people stay in relationships for. It's either you love them, loyalty, or you're comfortable. That's it. You can love someone and say, I'm totally in
You
love
get a
what have you.
long blank on Solomon. He ain't read that right. Because my blanks be quick and they be long because I be rolling my eyes, but it just be lash effect. But the way you blinked your eyes at Solomon just long, it was like...
It clicked is what it did. She's processing it.
Yep.
She's
Okay,
processing.
so friend,
It's
whenever you...
love, loyalty, or comfort.
Go ahead, friend. Let him have it.
Ain't that much love in the world. I love me more than I love you. I don't care
At
if
the
you my
end of the
husband or
day.
not. I love me more, and what you're not going to do is make me look like a fool.
That's on the love aspect of it.
Okay.
But there are
loyalty-
some people who it's not love, it's loyalty. So I understand that, she had my back when
But
I
you
ain't had
fucked
nothing.
up, and I'm just supposed to be like, oh, I'm loyal to you.
Yeah, because you
Let
were
me
there
stay.
when I was there for you when you fucked up.
Well,
But
how we
who
know
said she fucked up? Like, dude, Solomon, don't make it another argument on here. Like,
Hey, it's
we
a
gonna
pendulum.
Do it.
look
It's a
here.
pendulum.
don't.
No, I'm kidding.
She didn't. They didn't. It was never brought up that she did. So let's not assume she did anything because
It's
he never.
not.
You said yourself, men, and even Reggie, like guys confirmed on this show. No, not Reggie. It was actually the Robert. He confirmed too that when he cheated, his wife had done nothing wrong.
And
so
I
let's
agree with
not
that.
assume that
But-
she did something.
But is it
and
not
when
a
he
get out of
forgave
jail
her.
free card? Because
Yeah.
if she decides that she wants to do something,
No, because let
what's
me
the fir-
explain.
what's the
Because
key word?
y'all don't
Grace.
take it. Look, my thing is y'all
Y'all
don't take it
can't.
the same
Y'all
way.
can't take
Y'all
it.
don't
Don't-
show grace
I'm not
the same way.
gonna say that we do, but it is oh, well, you did it and I took you back, so why are you so hard on me?
Let me tell you, one thing
And
about
I've
us is
heard
that
this.
when we do something, we're not necessarily assuming that you're going to take us back in that same way, especially when we go to that magnitude. Like, if we go out there and we slip, we already like, okay, we know he ain't going to take us back. It is what it is. If he do, now your feelings can, now that clock goes out like, okay, now let me try and save this thing. But for the most part, when we do stuff wrong, we automatically assume it's done.
It's time to go.
We're not assuming
already
that you're
packed my
going to forgive
bag.
us.
I'm
nothing
already
like that.
way out the
We
door.
automatically
I
assume we're
think
done.
while you're planning that and doing it as it's going down or happening, sure. Once it's done, everyone becomes a bit remorseful.
Right. And she's probably
So it's
saying,
like,
like,
you
why?
know,
And that probably comes out her mouth. Look, you did it, and I took you back, and you did such and such. But once that argument is done, trust and believe, she's already done. She's like, I knew this was going to happen. This is what we're going to do. Because, see, one thing about us is that even when we do things, we are so calculated about how we do stuff and how we move. Majority of us, everybody not out here messy. So majority of us already know that once I cross this line, there's a possibility he's not going to take me back. Because y'all can't take
see,
us
the line-
giving our cookie away. But y'all are so past
What
that
did Rob
girl
say when he was
around.
on last week? And you just quoted it. When he stepped out, his wife or significant other had done nothing. It was just him being greedy or selfish or took advantage of a moment. Once again, I say the same thing. In my infidelities, I did the same thing. It was nothing my significant other had done. It was just me being
But were you
absent-minded at that
fearful
point in
of
time.
what your significant
At that
other
point in
could
time,
do?
no, you weren't. You're
You
just
didn't.
caught in the moment. But here's what I'm going to say. When a woman does something like that, a woman is very calculated. I mean, from the good book of Saul Davis Sr., a woman is capable of a far
greater,
devious
yeah.
crime or far devious hate or pain than any man is capable of.
He had to go to his dad. Yeah.
He laughing at Solomon, the good book of Solomon Senior. Man, that book is
What
burning
church is
in
that
hell. The book of
When did he wear
bullshit.
that church?
Song of Solomon.
It's the book of bullshit.
Wow.
You know, a woman is capable of a greater pain than any man is capable of.
That's true.
But we're built so differently, and that's the thing. Y'all take it for granted because we're always so
Ooh.
nurturing.
Thank
We're
you.
very
Not all of us.
forgiving.
Thank you.
Majority of men take it for granted, so that's why
She just
they
gonna
make
be
it
there.
with it. Yeah, she's gonna stay.
Because I
She's
look
not
good.
in
That pool.
The way
Because
she does this, the way I do this for her, nobody else. But please understand and trust and believe that this generation of women out here dating, this new
Different.
age dating is a whole different thing. So they ain't putting out with all the BS. Everybody ain't out here just trying to, because they clock ticking. Oh, I need to be married by this age. They're not doing that. These, especially the women that I know, they're not like that. They're like, okay, if he cheat, okay, then we done. They don't care about, because at this point they've been alone so long, like not in something that's been healthy or fruitful from what they've dated before, that if this one fails, they're like, okay, we're going back to the drawing board because this ain't even worth my time, obviously.
Okay.
So I think it's just different. Like for example, like, you know, like I've said, even in ours, like there's zero times. Like there's no forgiving. Like it's okay, I forgive you. I want you to be the best daddy ever. Now you may not marry, but I always told you I am the marrying type. So I would
Masterpiece type, huh?
Whatever.
Here we go.
Look,
you wanna call
if
it.
that's what you want to call it, because that's how. That's what it'll
masterpiece. Here
be.
we
Straight
go.
masterpiece.
All right, with that being said, we're having a great conversation. We're going to need to take a quick commercial break, and then when we come back, we're going to get back into the
Nice.
conversation. So break number 2.
That's right.
I am Solomon
Ding.
Davis. This is,
Shannon Royal Davis.
and this is his, hers, and ours. We'll be right back.
Toe up, dog. Sound like you, man. Wow, man. For real. She's from, let me tell you about it. Yo, and she came with the same type game, the type of girl giving out the fake cell phone, the name. Big fame, she like catching big things. Jewel ship, money clip, phone flip the 6 range. Had seen her on the ass, spotted her more than once. Ass so fat that you can see her from the front. She spot me like paparazzi. Shot me a glance and that Catwoman stands with the fat booty pants. Hot damn. What's your name, love? Where you came from? Neck and wrist laced up. Very little makeup. The swims at the Reebok gym. Tone your frame up. A sugar and spice. The only thing that you made up. I tried to play it low key but couldn't keep it down. Asked her to dance and she was like, yo, I'm leaving now. An hour later, Sam's from Jamaica. She sipping Chris straight up. Skanking while in the waist up. Scene 2. My fam throwing the jam for Reed is on the stand. Big things is in the plans. The brother Big Moon makes space for me to move in here. Yo, this my man Most. Baby, let me introduce. I turn around. You was the same pretty bird who I had priorly observed. Trying to play me me for the herb. Shocked to sell, she couldn't get it together. I just played along and pretended I never met her. How you feeling? No, I'm fine. My name is Mons. I'm Sharice. I heard so much good about you. It's nice to finally meet. He moved to the booth, reserved for crew especially. And Honey Love ended up sitting directly next to me. I'm type polite, but now I'm looking at her skeptically. Cause baby girl got all the right weaponry. Designer fabric, shoes and accessories. Chinky eyes, sweet voice, on me mentally. We conversated, made her laugh, yeah, you know me, bro. Even though I know the stilo, she wild sweet, yo. I'm about to murk, I say peace to the family. She hop up like, how you gonna leave before you dance with me? Dance with me. She blew my whole head with that dude. I was like, what? I played it low though. I was like, yeah, alright, come on then, let's go. This is mad. This is so sick. I'm telling yo, Honey was so blazing. She was, what? Yo, she looked like Jane Kennedy, word walk. To my mother, man. She was that L, man. She take me to the dance floor and she start whispering to me. Yo, let me apologize for the other night. I know it wasn't right, but baby, you know what it's like. Some brothers don't be coming right. I understand, I'm feeling you. Besides, can I have a dance? Ain't really that original. We laughed about it, traced the arms across my shoulder blades. They playing lovers rock, I got to fold the fingers on the waist. He in my butt up like the Arizona summer song finished. And she whispered, honey, let's exchange numbers. Scene 3. Weeks in dating, late night conversation in the crib, heart racing, trying to be cool and patient. She touched on my eyelids, the room fell silent. She walked away smiling, singing Gregory Isaacs like, if I don't, she want me a tan line and a tattoo, playing Sade, sweetest taboo, burning candles. All my other plans got canceled. Man, I smashed it like an Idaho potato. She called me at my jail, come now, I can't say no. Jensen tree trunks, rocking a pee from cocking her knees up. Champion lover, not ease up. 3 months, she call, I feel I'm running a fever. 6 months, I'm telling her I desperately need her. 9 months, flu-like symptoms with shorty not around. I need more than to knock it down, I'm really trying to lock it down. Midnight, we hook up and go at it. Burn a stove and let her know, sweetheart, I got to have it. She telling me commitment is something she can't manage. Wake up the next morning, she gone like it was magic. Oh, damn it. It's on Harrison, full frantic. My number one's an answer by my fly Taurus enchantress. Next week, who hit me up? I saw Sharice at the kitty club with some banging ass Asian playing Lay It Down and Lick Me Up. What?
Yeah, it goes.
Yes.
No, that was funny. Yeah, I don't know if it's alcohol or just...
No, it's the
both.
Okay.
Have you never had that light here before? No, it just makes it. And plus, they don't turn AC off on the weekends.
All right, we're back.
And we are back. His, hers, and ours. I am Solomon Davis with.
It's Shannon Royal Davis.
And the general manager of the Tampa 6 Footers.
Gina Wallace. Y'all want to be on my team?
Son.
I know y'all want to be on my team. Come join. I'm taking applications. I'll give you the link in a minute.
You give it an inch.
Link in bio.
I do.
Okay.
I'll give a few inches.
Solomon, shut up.
I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
You want some water?
Let him be great. Let him be great.
You want some water?
Let me be
Al?
great. Right.
I swear.
So listen, when we get back on this whole dating scene and what have you, and you said you're dating for with a purpose, dating with a purpose. At what point in time does that dating with purpose become physical and you allow intimacy to come into the picture?
Ooh.
Do you even put like a timeline on that? Like, is that something?
I used to.
Gotcha.
Right? I did.
So you with Steve Harvey ended up, huh?
I absolutely was. Let me be honest, right?
Is it one of those situations though when you ride with the vibe though? I mean, like if you're on a first date or second date or whatever the case may be.
Usually mine is never on the first date.
Well, no, I'm not. That's true. That could be the case, but in reality, sometimes if you feel a vibe, like on that first or second date, do you just disregard everything and kind of ride it a little bit?
I don't like that time.
Or do you, do you have a hard time?
Stop!
You're a genuine in the record.
Oh my God!
What I'm saying is it?
Do you go to the intercourse
like 90 days or 120 days or whatever the case may be? Or do you ride the vibe? Like if you're in
ride the vibe.
He has to earn it.
Okay,
I've been on a couple of dates where liquor's involved and everything's feeling great, and it's like, but wait a minute, it's second date. What you done for me to get me physically?
Right.
Nothing. So you have to put in some work. You have to be doing somewhat.
That word, work.
Listen.
Yeah. I want to understand the word work. Can you please explain that to me?
Work.
Look, stop trying to put my friend on all the spots.
But
Like,
it ain't just it ain't
She's in the
her.
hot seat,
She just
as
having
you
to
said.
say
Yeah.
it, but work. I mean,
Exactly.
we hear that all the time.
Every
Men
time.
hear that you got to work to get this.
well,
work.
put in a
Work.
little work. Look, do
I
you
work
get
at
on
9
your
to 5. I'm
pause?
good.
Do you get paid at your 9 to 5 to do nothing?
Exactly.
No.
Nothing? You get paid to do nothing?
No.
I get
Let
paid.
me know where they cutting checks for nothing.
I'll
Then
do
when
that.
you do sign
The,
me
the
up, because
scenario
that's
I
not
gave
the
you
case.
last week, female come at you. Oh, baby, I think you cute, this, that, and the other. So you buy
How
her a
you know
drink
she
and
ain't
what
made them
have you.
other 4 people
But like I
that
said,
work?
Because she got 4 drinks.
Right.
Four kids from 4 baby daddies, and I got to do work. to
He
get some.
probably was
Exactly.
putting
She learned her
look,
lesson.
she, look,
She learned. It took her.
Really? 4
It took her
times?
4?
time
4
out.
times?
Wait a minute. How do y'all know they didn't work? How do y'all know
Because
the
she
first
coming at
thing?
me.
No, she probably giving you the same rules, and y'all just gonna end up with baby because y'all gonna take them condoms off, and y'all gonna end up with baby number 5.
Well,
so stop playing.
Well,
I'm just
So
saying.
again, don't get mad because a woman has some kind of standards and she wants you to treat her a certain kind of way. Like just because you buying somebody a drink, do something that I can't do for myself or something. Like fast. Like,
But see,
do
that's
something.
why I say it's never consistent because on one end it'll be like, you know, I did this with my ex or what have you, so I don't want to try this with you. I don't want to experiment
Lies.
I
that
wanna try
with
something
you.
different.
But because of him messing up, now I don't get to experience
not
that
that
pleasure
person.
part of you. But
I am to a certain extent.
You know what? Do you guys hold a negative situation against the next person?
exactly.
No,
That's
and I
exactly
think
what I
that
was
That's
just
the
saying.
problem I seem to run into sometimes. It's like you will hold something negative from
No.
a previous relationship.
It's-
So now I gotta prove myself beyond.
So can
normal?
I ask you this? When a kid learns that a stove is hot because they touched it and they don't want to re-venture it, if they start seeing signs of certain things, why are we penalizing women for
It's a
like
reminder.
it's a reminder? They just it's PTSD.
it's a red
They
flag.
don't necessarily want to go back into that space
We
until
gotta
they're
punish the
very
next person,
comfortable.
though?
It's not punishing the next person.
That
It's just
person might be
that
responsible enough to turn the stove off so the kid doesn't
Exactly.
touch it.
Facts.
I don't know
Facts.
because he might leave the iron on.
All right, Janet Jackson.
Right? Look, I don't know. I'm just saying.
Turn the stove off, but leave the iron on.
So either way, you get burned.
You in danger.
So
One way or the
it's
other.
a flag. It's
So
red.
it's
either
just,
way.
that's all it
We
is.
escaping the question that I asked.
What
At
was the
what,
question?
Sorry, go ahead.
at what point do you allow it to become intimate?
When I feel more comfortable, when I know it's for me, when
And
I
it's
know
not no pressure.
it's not right. That it's.
But is that
turning
when it
into
reaches?
something-
Is that when it reaches the exclusivity?
Oh
To
hell yeah!
Oh.
What? This ain't community. What?
I ain't saying you, and I'm not trying to call you out your name or this, that, and the other.
No.
For him, he can't be in the community with me.
Okay.
If he's getting all of me, I don't want pieces of him. He can't be sharing all of that. We
Okay.
have to agree on exclusivity, and then even after that conversation, it's not an immediate. Oh, okay, let's have sex.
So then let me pop this on you then.
Well,
Y'all
Gina's
going
a
back
good
and,
one because you
y'all
know we
going
out
back
here
and
doing
forth.
something else. out here.
y'all going
No
back and
shit.
forth on these dates, getting to know each other, and you're like, all right, we can do this. You know, yeah, you know, babe, I can see you being exclusive, and all right, Gina, yeah, I'm feeling you too, and this and that, what have you. And y'all put that exclusive label on it. It took 3-4 months to get that
6
exclusive
months,
label.
8 months.
Now
Maybe
all of
a year.
now all of a sudden y'all do enter into that realm, into the bedroom, what have you. Like, damn,
And he
dude was whack.
And he got
Right.
the, he got,
Oh yeah.
he got the baby wee wee.
Right.
First of all,
6'4".
Yeah.
Thank you, bro.
First of all, it's not gonna take me 3-4 months to realize that you got it. It won't take me that long.
She gonna get him
Right.
some
Just because
sweatpants real
there's
quick.
no
There's no.
intercourse doesn't mean we ain't checking out
Trying to
packages.
check
I'm just
out.
saying.
Oh, really?
We ain't, yes, really. We ain't waiting no 4-5 months.
So when you come to my house, make sure you got the gray sweatpants on.
Look, that what you telling Gina at the door?
Let's match. I'm wearing gray
You wearing
sweatpants.
sweats and a tank
Come on.
top. What you doing?
Oh
No,
man.
and that's good. She has that preference, and that's her choice as to what determines
It is,
exclusivity. Because
Yeah, that's true.
like I said, I wasn't out here doing that. For
So-
me. I was
so-
out here
hold on.
test driving a
6
freak.
foot.
Test driving
6
my
foot.
6
body.
foot,
6
Light
foot,
skinned.
full beard,
Full beard.
full beard,
light skin,
Does it have to be a full beard though?
Look at y'all.
baby wee wee.
Because-
light
okay.
skin, and
say
can't
baby
is it
wee
working?
wee?
Can't perform in the
Work in
bed.
progress work.
Yeah, because I don't.
But you know what? I'm a mental person. So
Yeah.
if you have me, see you
Mental stimulation.
because if-
Absolutely not, Gina. I
if
call
you
bullshit on that
don't-
one.
You can call
Oh,
bullshit
really?
all you want to, because if you have a smaller than normal penis,
Could you stay in that relationship if he checked all the other boxes?
are you working with something else though?
I mean, you
Like
can have a
skills?
good head game.
Like
you can have a good
skills.
head game. Let's
Like
say he had a good
skills.
head
So he
game.
got to be at the buffet.
something has to give, right? And so that's what compromise is about. Am I really gonna say, Daniel, penis that little?
I'm shallow.
Wow.
I'd be like,
Wow.
yeah, no.
Let's go talk
this
to a
ain't
doctor.
gonna work.
so what you're
I work
basically
with disability, so let me.
what you're basically saying
like.
is that if a guy lacks in a certain size, but he's good in other fields.
So if that so let me explain. This doesn't apply to every woman. This is just Shannon
Exactly.
talking, and when
This is
Shannon was
Shannon.
dating, and this is even what I expressed to Solomon initially on. Sex is very important to me, and it is very much so. So if you just giving head, I might as well be a lesbian, and I'm not trying to be funny. I mean, for some women, that's everything. Me, no ma'am, no sir, no ham. Like, it got to be, I need to see what that is, and if it's workable, yeah. But if you out here looking like you 6, I ain't got time. Like, this is not even, like, I am not the girl for you. You can have all the money, all the benefit plans, everything. If you
So
look
it's a
at
hard
baby
stop.
out here, it's like,
So he can
Hard
cook
stop.
everything
because I'm
else.
going to cheat. I'm going to cheat.
You want that penis.
Because I'm going to get
She want that penis.
somebody's going to give me what I'm looking for, okay?
That's why y'all go to like the toys, though.
What?
So
No, for real.
So I can read between the line and pop my collar on that one, huh?
Do you?
No, so let me
I'm not
ask
even
this
mad.
question: if the man doesn't have that, that's why you guys would shift over to the toy part of it.
Look, I don't want to be playing with toys. I was not born in Toys R Us. I am a grown up. I get it, and it's okay to have toys. Don't get me wrong. Toys are like, shoot, as a married person, I have toys now. Like, it's not a problem. That's nothing. That's not an issue. However, if you can't please me sexually at some point, like we can make money together, because I don't expect a man to come in and always just be able to pay for all the bills and everything and do all of this stuff, because that ain't the world we live in nowadays. Right. This ain't like when mortgages was $100 a month. So let's be realistic. You're gonna meet a man who's not able to pay for everything under the roof. Now, if he, you're gonna have to put in some kind of work. But to me, sex is very important to me. If you don't want me cheating and you just want me to be a good wife, and I can play that all day long. But when it comes to sex, I'm gonna be like, look, homeboy, like, what's the deal?
You need the blows.
That would have been an issue. That would have been an absolute issue for me.
I thank God I've never run across any of that.
Right.
Like, not never. So
Yet.
Yeah, it's
I don't really be sleeping out there like
Don't
that.
be
So
look at don't be jinxing my friend like that. Look at her.
you gotta look
I
at
mean,
the
because
side of things.
I mean, she's playing a game with chance. The
Yeah,
more time
right.
she
It's a
steps out there,
crapshoot, basically.
But like
probability.
my friend said, like, even though I say all this stuff, I still, like I told even my friend, even Solomon's friend and my friend that Andrea will tell you the first thing I said when I met them at this conversation party. This is a high end luxury car. Everybody wasn't taking rides on this, so you're taking a gamble, and you're not allowing people to put all this mileage on you. But like she said, you have to figure out. There's ways of figuring that out before. But if you know that that's important to you, like for her, that may not be that big of an issue. She can figure out
Please
workaround.
explain.
it. Yeah.
how are there ways of figuring out beforehand?
You don't know how to.
Y'all, Solomon.
Okay.
Hey, I'm hey, inquiring minds
Don't
want to
give out all
know.
the secrets.
Man, I ain't
'Cause
even
he
gonna
know.
play with you.
Stop.
Cause you trying to play.
How am I
You
playing?
trying to play.
Obviously, I don't fall in that boat because I'm married.
You
Wow.
wasn't always married, and when you was
I've been married for the greater
when
part
you
of my
was
life.
married, you wasn't married. But okay.
Hey, but
So we'll just leave
Let me
that.
fan
at
myself. Next. What will we? Moving right
So,
along.
yeah. You want to go ahead and get to your next question?
so earlier we were talking about dating with a purpose and dating friends and what have you, and how you hadn't really conditioned yourself to be seeing multiple people at the same time. For those that are in that mindset, I mean, what are your thoughts or feelings on that?
I'm gonna start next month. I already
Next month?
Next month. Free got a plan. My friend got a game plan. Don't play.
come May
You have a
1st.
storyboard and everything?
I do.
A vision board.
Yeah.
That's what it
There's a
is.
vision board. There you go.
So May 1st on a Saturday, you got a brunch date and a dinner date?
She probably gonna just get the ball
Brunch
rolling.
and dinner?
I'm gonna jump on a couple more apps. I'm really gonna see how I can if I can do it. I have not. I'm 37.
She
I
hasn't,
have not.
yeah.
Dated
So she
more
young.
than
I've
one
said it
So-
because
person.
and I've said that to her. I was like, Gina, don't stop just dating everything and shut this down because of this one person. Like, continue to date and that's what I expressed to her. I said, hey, he's out here doing the same thing. He is still out here. He's still on these apps. Don't remove yourself. Don't do anything. Don't take anything away from yourself. But that's how she moves, and I respect that because she wants to focus solely on one person at a time. And look, she ain't a good multitasker.
Really?
Get it together.
Not relationally. I'm not relationally. So that's my goal. I actually have an accountability partner and everything to make sure I don't.
what's up.
It gets frustrating.
Somebody to make sure that you go on multiple dates.
to make sure I'm
That
really
she's really out here trying to date.
that I'm
That's
trying,
good.
right? Because I could easily just delete the apps and be like, all right, I've had enough. So it takes a lot. It's again 37. I've been conditioned a certain way, and it's hard to break these habits. It's like, oh, he's really interested, so I need to let. Bye, y'all.
Gotcha.
Well, and you know, like I told you in the last conversation that we had, if somebody really has a genuine interest and desire, you know, they're going to make it abundantly clear that, you know, Gina, I want this. You know, it shouldn't be anything that you go looking for or searching for. Make yourself available. But, you know, like I said, anytime a person wants something, they'll find a way to get it done.
And what I've learned just listening to the guys that we've had on this show, a lot of them take their time getting there. There's not a
Patience.
timeline on them. Like for us, we are
And
in
I'm
our
not
head.
used
Yeah,
to that, though.
absolutely.
Here we are, 8-9 weeks. I'm like, so we're together yet? What?
That doesn't mean anything to them, and it's timing for them. Even
That
last
is
time, I'll be
crazy.
honest. I think Rob was perfect example, like because he was so candid and open about just how guys think. And when I asked that question about like at what time period, you know, and they were like, honestly, it's not one. Solomon has told me that a lot before. That
Do you
it's
have a
not
hard
about a
time period?
timeline.
Like I said,
I'm impatient, period.
exactly. So, I mean, you can't really judge that. Everybody has their own. Maybe it's the way they were raised. Maybe it's what they, you know, seen on TV, or maybe
My
'cause-
clock.
Or maybe
ticking.
they don't want to close out their options. Like, so for women, we're able to kind of narrow down and pinpoint what we're trying to do, and let's see if it works. And if it doesn't, then okay, at least we tried it exclusively for a minute.
Right.
Let's try it, and we can move on, and it's okay. I want us to get to a place where like the white folks they be amicable with their breakups and stuff like that. I want to be amicable, like you know what I'm saying. I'm just
What, you don't want
window.
you don't want to be in a place where you go hanging out and the ex comes up and gives you a hug and say,
Yeah.
"Hey, girl."
Now, I have a question about that.
They be so amicable.
So
They be
petty.
real amicable. I want to be
We'll get to
amicable
another
just
show.
like that. But no, I think that for women, especially black women, we are always like in our minds setting these goals and being in these places. Whereas you see a lot of white women are married in their early 20s. They're already off the market,
But that's how
and
they
it
were
doesn't
built, too,
happen.
so
Right?
think about it.
That's how they're raised.
Right.
It's the and that's how the men
Right.
who they're marrying usually are. Like by the time that's why you see Trevor Lawrence. He in college. He getting ready to go to the pros. Is he what 24? Maybe 23? 22. He already ready to get married. So it's just I guess it's the culture
Right.
of
But
what
hold
they're
on,
raised up
I
with.
mean, that goes back to what we were talking about in the first episode, the whole love and loyalty and what happened in college situation.
Even
I
with
mean,
black
and-
men who
hold on,
do
but
get
no, hold on,
in the
hold on,
pros,
hold on, hold
they
on.
wait 7 years.
It's not even that. It's the culture.
And 3 babies.
Right.
It's the culture. I mean,
Right.
9 times out of 10, you know, and once again, not trying to be racist, but Karen or Becky or what have you, mom's sending them to college, and the goal is, go get a degree, but
Find you a player.
find you a man
But
while
Solomon,
you're there,
even
because
with-
daddy and I are tired of taking care of you. Where the black woman now has been sent to school to say, hey, you don't need a man, you need to fend for yourself.
But it's not even that. Like I said, it's a cultural thing because even when you see, even look at, for example, we got like Jaden Travolta. She had a teammate who's probably maybe just now 24, 25. She's married now.
Okay.
But that's the culture they're in. That's how they're raised. Those young men are taught like early on. You don't even have to be an athlete. A guy doesn't have to be an athlete. Most of them, in their mind, when they come in our workplace and they 25 years old, they already married or are getting married. That's their mindset. Black
Right,
men,
but
like
what did
African,
I tell you from the beginning?
it's not about a
African-
loyalty
No,
thing. It's
not
about,
love and loyalty. And with the way we're raised, most of us have, I hate to
Haven't
say
been
it, haven't
in a
become from
two-parent-
broken homes.
right, absolutely.
So with these broken homes being dominated by females, when something happened with the son, the mother always made an excuse. Oh, my baby just needed a little bit more help.
But
or this,
that's
that,
a-
what
but
have you.
again, I think
when it
that's a
happened with the
culture.
girl, you're gonna be able to do this,
it's
this,
a
and that.
culture.
Exactly. So
It's
now,
our
as
culture.
African American females, you two are perfect examples. When y'all go to college, your mind is on, I got to get this piece of paper so I can get the bag at the end of the day. You know, you're
I
not
got
worried
a
about
bag.
finding
It
a
was
man.
baby bag.
You know,
That
it's,
was
I
mine.
had one too.
it's getting a bag at the end of the
baby
day.
bag.
You know, so
Baby
your
bag
mind wasn't
all
going to
day.
college to find a husband or a life
Right.
partner or this, that, and the other. Yours was like, I got to get mine because I got to be able to be, self-sufficient to where I can take care of my own and handle my own business.
What about that 1% though that like is like super like not? I'm just about me, about me, about me. that rare one that never gets married, never has kids.
Well, it's not that they don't want to be. They're focused on their
super
career, and then
independent.
they end up because they've waited that window, that they've missed that window of love. They haven't put in the energy of love, and they look around and they're 37 or 38, and now they're wanting this family. And I'm not saying you know we work in that culture where women work longer hours in our culture than the men do. So I started getting that attitude. I was like, man, they be shutting down at 4 o'clock. Me too. But no, I'm saying, in my department, there are women the same way but I'm just saying, but they work longer hours. Those women in those leadership roles,
They stay
majority of
on,
them are not
sending
married.
emails.
That's right.
30
It's
of
those
them.
leadership
Majority of them are
roles,
not married. Majority of them are not
ones that have those
married. They are
agreements.
just going home to themselves and their dog. And I feel bad because they desire those relationships, but because they put their career first, like some men do, now they've missed that window.
Right.
And then that mindset, that's another shift or balance that I've been saying has been very difficult to maintain. For a long time, it's been men that have been in leadership roles, and then when they come home, for
They wanna
African
still be
American
in
woman, they
leadership
still want
roles.
to be in a leadership role, but
Lies.
a black woman ain't taking that.
No.
Now you have black women that are excelling in the business place, and they're always in leadership roles. So when they come home, they don't know how to turn that off. And so that's another one. Whereas as men, it's been embedded in us. You're the head of your household. You're the king of your domain. But when she comes in, I run a Fortune 500 company, and then I come home, I'm still, calling the shots, and he's got a problem handling that.
Why is it that women have to adjust to it and men tend to struggle with adjusting to that?
It's not necessarily adjusting to it. It's basically as the word we've been using on today's show, condition, and being able to, perform to those conditions.
Gotcha.
We got to understand that the way you're programmed isn't necessarily the way you're going to end up, and there's going to be often times where, it's becoming more prevalent these days. The woman is going to make more money than the man, but at that same point in time, does the fact that she bring home a bigger paycheck define that she's calling the shots in the house?
Nah, I don't think that.
Some women do believe that.
But believe it or not, most of those women that are in those roles and bosses at work are very submissive in their personal life
They
when
flip
it comes
it.
to men, and because they understand
50
how
Shades
what it
movies.
is. It is
No.
pretty much
No.
they really just flip that reverse. Like they're powerful at work, but when they come home, they're like, okay, baby. They get into that like they understand it.
And
a lot of
back
women
to
do.
Shannon's point earlier, when women have been alone for especially me, like I'll speak about myself, raising my son, it's just been me and him. So when a man tries to enter that, I'm like, wait a minute. I'm used to being the head. I'm used to this is who I am, not about conditioning, but I've been doing this for so long. And then the man just expects, oh, you're just supposed to be this
But
weak
when you've
and
gotten into those relationships, you were able to kind of dial it back in a sense to be like, okay, I'm gonna let you.
But it took grace and
Yeah.
it took him to be very patient because it's not just we met and
Right.
all of a sudden I'm
Right.
this docile woman.
Gotcha.
No, I've been doing this by myself.
So that's a good question because I had a situation growing up, and that kind of parallels to this. So let's say you meet a guy, and y'all do click and become exclusive. And, I mean, like I said, I just met your son for the first time, and I don't think he'll give you any type of problems.
He is
Very
that way
manageable
all
young man
the
and what
time.
have you.
Thank
But
you.
let's say
a
something
good kid.
does happen, and in your role in this relationship, the man now says he feels he needs to chastise your son.
What?
It wouldn't become physical, but just what he says to your son. How do you handle it?
We'd have to have an understanding. Knowing, after one interaction with my son, you know how he is. So for a man to tell me they have to chastise my son,
Right.
we're going to have a conversation.
Yeah, like, because I'm really,
he is
he
not.
gonna have to talk to the whole village on that one, because I need to understand why he talk to guys like that. That is not, no.
Why do
because
you
he's-
feel the need?
Right.
What is
He's
it? Because
absolutely-
my son's going to be 16, so yeah,
Absolutely.
he's going to puff up at you. He's not, again,
But he's not
it's
disrespectful.
right.
He's not a disrespectful
I've taught
kid
him
at
how to have a
all.
voice. I've taught him how to, if you feel you're getting too upset, please call me. Step away. If they take your phone, go to the office. Call me. Let me do that. But don't ever silence yourself.
Right.
Don't ever feel that you can't say anything. And then, too, personal story. My mom was dating somebody, and this man, he grabbed me. And my mom thought I was joking. And her daddy's not here. Wait, what?
Yeah.
I don't ever want to put my child in that position. So if a man who I allowed to meet me and my son says, I want to chastise, we need a conversation.
Yeah. Need some need a real conversation and some context, because that right there, yeah. Every situation is different.
I mean,
Kids are
and
bunch of
Shannon and I can speak to this. I mean, never had any major problems, you know, with Jaden or what have you. But
she
you know, there were
stuff.
some issues that went back and forth, and we both know where we think the issue came from and what have you. And you know, to this day, you know, Jaden knows I love her to death. I'm sure she feels the same way about me. But in that same perspective, I did have to, you know, make it clear that, you know, whatever you are feeling, you do have to understand that you are living under my roof. And
it's
you know,
different for girls. It's different
girls
for
real sassy.
for girls.
Spicy. They be sassy.
So I'm not opposed to a man being over, and that's something that I'm on my checklist. How are you?
Because I was going to say, especially with your son and even, you know, dating, like, he's really receptive and open to stuff because he absolutely values your opinion on what's best, and he does communicate with you how he feels about stuff. So I really think that that's a different conversation with boys. Like, just seeing my friends who have boys, they date differently. Their dates are approached differently than with a girl.
I've had my son, when somebody comes to the door, let me holler at you for a second, and they step outside. And I was floored. I was like, wait a minute. Like, real man to man, what I don't even know what the conversation was about. And he's like, oh, all right, y'all have a good night.
Guys be chin checking.
that whole baby boy situation.
Yeah.
Mama, bring me something back.
The Martin situation.
You need a little bit of change, Mama? Yeah. No, but I understand that, and like I said, I really applaud you for the job you've done parenting and raising him because, you know, like I said, I was impressed with him. Let me ask you this. You know, you got 2 more years before he goes off to college. Do you think that will change your dating mindset because he won't be in the house?
Yeah, for real. That's a good question because
it's already starting to because now, you know, he's not going to be in my house. He's already looking to leave. So he's not going to be in my house. Right. So it's really going to be me and the dog. I hate that you said dog, but it's going to be me and the dog and whoever I date. So at that point, it'll be, you know what? You don't have to be 6 foot. All right, I'll take you at 5'10". Right, you don't have to be. You don't have to have a beard.
So basically, he just got to hold off for 2 more years.
Yeah, he can wait. Look, that's how we be waiting for rings and stuff. Look, we be waiting for that commitment. He gonna hold off. Yeah, he can wait.
I already see it.
So what? By 2025, they can be 5'5", huh?
Absolutely not.
And my friend ain't gonna be out here for 2025. Don't try her.
No, let me ask this: when do you decide as a woman? When do you decide to relax those checklists?
When I decide to settle. When I decide I'm tired of being by myself. And that doesn't mean I'm going to take anything, right? Just whatever's thrown. But it's I will lax. It's like, okay, so what? He doesn't have so what? He doesn't make what I make. So what? But he owns this, right? But he's still not making or bringing home what I bring home. Is that really a big deal? No, because together it's one number. So things will change once I'm tired of being by myself.
And that sounds like exactly the same thing that Rob and Solomon explained last week. When a guy gets to a tired, like, and I'm hearing it more and more by different guys, when they get to a certain space and they're tired of certain things, that they get to a settling down point. And that's okay for us. I think that we have to be okay with it too. I think women are judged harsher when we say we want to wait till we get to that point. It sounds really hard on the ears, but it's the same thing that men say. Like, they wait till something either go wrong or they've gotten to a certain place. They're like, okay, I'm just tired of dealing with all these women. I'm too tired.
So we go back to the one who I know. And my grandma used to say all the time, at least I know my crazy. Right. And I didn't understand that growing up. What do you mean? You know what? But now, oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Makes perfect sense.
Well, I know my crazy. On my crazy, I know that when this song comes on, she'll get up and dance her ass off.
We gonna play something.
Take us to break.
We're gonna go off.
No, we got one more
what is
segment.
this? No.
It's a quarter.
Go ahead and hit us with that last segment. This is Solomon Davis, his, hers, and ours. We'll be right back.
What we dancing to, Shannon?
If you evil, I forgive you, bye bye. 'Cause
welcome back to His, Hers, and Ours. I am Solomon Davis with
Shannon Royal Davis is better half.
Better Half. Okay.
Absolutely.
And the better half brought another half.
Yes.
Our guest today, Miss Gina, we have definitely enjoyed you.
This has been fun.
It has been a pleasure having you. You are always welcome. This is an open invitation anytime.
Thank you.
We're going
I
to
think
open
I'm done
up.
being in the hot seat, though.
No, we're going to open up the inboxes and the DMs and
Send
all
it my
guys
way.
6
Make
foot
sure y'all-
with big beards. Y'all hit me up so I can put y'all in contact.
Let me know.
Absolutely.
Send your profile
Yeah.
Wait,
so I can swipe left.
Pick got to be included.
What happened?
I
Big
said the
is a
pick got to be
mother.
included.
Absolutely.
Look, and we gonna
Well,
call
that
them
means you got to
Facebook.
give your DMs so
Look.
they can send the great
Look, time
hand.
out. No, I'm gonna do a
I
Facebook
don't do
phone
that.
call so I can see what they're doing. So I can see what they're doing. Is they catfishing us or what? They might pull a Ron Isley. So I'm gonna have to see. I'm gonna have to see if they
We was looking for
catfishing
him in
Fred.
one way, and he was
Right.
like, right here.
He was like, "Who is that? Who's sexy granddaddy?" So he got up and walked. He reminded me who he was.
Why y'all hating on the man? I mean,
I wasn't.
yeah,
We
No,
were
no.
looking for we were looking for the
Come on.
older Ron Isley, and when I seen
Yeah,
him
we was
sitting
missing
there,
his signature gap.
Yeah.
We was missing his. He
didn't
don't
have a
usually have no
beard.
beard. He had a whole
Baby.
salt and pepper and a whole chinchilla on his back.
COVID.
I didn't know who he was.
COVID.
No, somebody was coming in there cutting that beard because that beard was so nice and trimmed. Then he done got them fresh pearlies. Yeah,
look good.
them choppers look nice.
So hold on. What was it that she said she wanted? A beard. Ron Isley ain't had no beard, so he coming up with these females. That, Baby,
He
I want
ain't
a beard.
6 foot either.
Hey, look
He
at-
had his beard
what did you
though.
tell me?
He had that beard.
Solomon, you need your beard. You need your
I
beard.
did.
You know I don't like this thing, but I wear it because you like it.
Right. Yeah, one time you cut it off, and I was like, boy, what is that? Is you looking like a pedophile out here with this naked face? You too old for this crap.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
I went all the way there.
whole
It did.
pedophile.
Because, like, whatever. I tried to go it out and it just,
No, Solomon had messed up his.
It started.
No,
thank you. Because that's what we got to deal with.
Solomon had done nicked it, and it was like
we got to deal with when we shave.
right.
But you're invisible all the time.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
So we can't walk around scratching ourselves and
Right.
the fabric brushing up against. It's the same.
Solomon, if you want Wolf Gang, let me know. Now I don't know what kind of freaky stuff you in there, baby. Let me know. I'm happy. I'm all about trying to make you happy.
Serge, what was the comment? It don't have no face.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's go into this last segment. I'm done.
Oh, my
mean,
God.
serious.
Thank you for that.
Hey, before we get into that, I just want to say real quick, rest in peace, Black Rob. He just,
Oh,
He
really?
just died, Black Rob?
Oh, man.
Oh man, they said he had
Right after DMX.
he was on dialysis
Yeah.
yeah.
and he looked really
Yeah,
sick
just
when
got
he
out
was
of the
just
hospital,
giving
didn't he?
Yeah.
And Puffy, they said Puffy had even started stepping in trying to help, like sending money and stuff. Man, these people are leaving this place fast, and I think that
Life
that's
is short.
life is very short.
Well, the thing is, though, we are in an era where a lot of those older are beginning to go away.
Right?
So, it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
And,
But they leaving so soon. Like, that's crazy. That's why I'll be honest. I do tell my friends. Don't I always tell y'all I love y'all. Like
Every time.
So for me, it's more so the thing of telling people that you love them now. I get into that habit because I feel like, especially while COVID was going on, you didn't know what was going to happen. And
Yeah,
I don't
for
want my
real.
last conversation to be like, well, I wish I could have. My conversation is always going to be at least they know I love them. Like, they don't have to question it, and they know I love my people. I do. So I genuinely just tell people all the time, man, I love y'all. And I don't want people to take it for granted because life is very short.
It is. It is.
Absolutely, and it's one of those things that, I mean, especially for our age group, the five of us in this room right now, what have you. I mean, it's people that we associated with growing up, and people that we knew that we looked up to. I mean, you hate to say that celebrity status gives them a different level, but it's just people that we identify with. When you see them leaving the earth this soon, I mean, it kind of makes you question your own mortality. It makes you question how it is that you're living. So, like I said last week on the last segment, let's make sure that we try to get this thing right. Tell the people that you love that you actually love them, instead of just assuming that they know this and taking it for granted. Let's do the right thing by our kids and raise them and let them know that
It's okay.
it's a circular effect. We were here for you when you were younger because we know that you're gonna have to be the ones to take care of us when we're older. Give them the opportunity to have an advantage going forward. And with that being said, is there anything, Gina, you would like to say closing out?
Any shout-outs?
Shout out to Shannon. I love you,
I
friend.
love you too.
That's all that
friend.
matters right
That's
now.
it.
I love you,
That's it.
friend. Thank you, Solomon.
I was getting ready to say, just Shannon, you team Shannon now?
I I've been Team Shannon.
That's it. That's
But
how
thank
it
you.
started.
We need to get shirts.
Team Shannon.
You got it.
But Solomon, thank you.
I'm
for,
not. She's the host. I'm just here to moderate things.
Whatever.
he said he the co-host, so
He always says that, but you know what? I think that the best part of this is that we're kind of like each other's yin and yang. I am,
And it's evident.
in real life. Like I'm the talker, like I'm the friendly one. Solomon's more laid back and reserved, and when he knows people, he's up. At any time, I trust in the streets. Like if somebody say, "Oh, your husband was so rude," you gonna have to check me because that's not who he is. Right. So he's very gentle, very like low key.
All I'm gonna do is throw cold water on him.
and run. I want to shut that
Had a car going. That's what he's gonna do. So if that's the worst he can do, I'll take that. I can deal with that.
Alpha, you got anything, man?
No, just kind of off of what y'all saying. Just make sure that people that are in your life make sure that know that they're loved, and give them their roses now because you may not be able to do it tomorrow.
Absolutely. And we're gonna get you that beard game treatment going.
I'm working on it a little bit because there's certain
that
like
naked faces.
That
naked faces pulling you out of the circle.
You
on the outside looking in.
Real quick, while you talking about getting Alfie the beard treatment and what have you heard about the Hidden Vault?
The Hidden Vault. What's that?
Look up the Hidden Vault on Instagram. That's all I'm gonna say. I gave y'all the tea about Royal Honey.
Yeah.
I gave y'all the tea about Royal Honey.
Did y'all really check out Royal Honey, like for real?
Did anybody check out Royal Honey?
Okay.
Look up the Hidden Vault. You and I looked it up. You just don't remember it right now. The oil.
Oh man, get out of here with that crap! I ain't even gonna play with you.
Do I need to look?
You can.
You can look. Hey, you might need it.
Might check it.
You might need
check
it.
it out, friend. Check it out.
I'm done.
Okay.
Anything you got on the way out?
No, on the way out, again, I want to thank you, friend, for coming. And like, I think all of our friends who've come on the show, who's followed us, and who've helped out listening and just paying attention to our show. I appreciate all the feedback, all the comments. I'm grateful. So I'm thankful for you all.
Yeah, just keep them coming, man. Keep them coming.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like I said, we appreciate all the feedback that we're getting. We try to implement everything that we hear and see how it can benefit the show.
Today.
I want to also give a shout out once again over to my man over at KeepingItRealRadio.com.
My man's in them.
Appearing over there on Thursday, had a good time. I told him we're going to sit
show.
down, get with Serge. We're going to all get together.
Yeah, I want to do, if we could do like an all-day outdoor type of event, we could bring the artists. It'll be a good time.
That's what's
That'll
up.
be
So we're going
good.
to get that together. Y'all look forward to that. It's going to be in the making. So, up until next Saturday, 4 p.m., same time, same place, we'll be here. I'm Solomon Davis.
Shannon Ray Davis
This
signing
is his,
off.
hers, and ours. We'll see you later.